Alright guys, so I think you're going to enjoy this. Here is the full hour-and-a-half Skype conversation I had with that Ryan guy. The entire Skype call has to be broken up into 15-minute parts because, as you guys probably know, YouTube censors me and doesn't allow me to upload videos longer than 15 minutes. So when you're done with part 1, to watch part 2, just click the link in the info section below, and then that'll put you automatically into the playlist for the rest of the parts, so it'll automatically play each video one by one in a playlist. Or alternatively, if you guys want to listen to the whole thing in audio only format, I have a free Red Pill Philosophy smartphone app. It's an app that you can download on your smartphone, and you'll be able to listen to the full hour-and-a-half audio only version of our conversation, little Skype conversation we had, and that way you can take it with you on the go on your smartphone, pop in your headphones. If you're about to go, to the gym or go to work, stuck in traffic, anything like that, if you wanted to take it with you, free Red Pill Philosophy smartphone app. That's also in the link below. Thank you.
Hey, man.
Hey, Mr. Ryan, how are you?
I'm alright. I was just writing. I was going to shower and stuff, but I guess I'll skip it. So you didn't like my video on Ronda Rousey?
You mean my video, your video about my video, you mean?
Yeah, well, I had another one before that. I guess you didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it. Actually, I did look through some of your videos. And
I am not a fucking feminist, dude.
Well, that's what you say, but you may have some feminist brainwashing still embedded in your head. So, hey, let me ask you something. Do you have a way to record this?
It's recording.
Alright, super.
So, well, okay. Go ahead, you saw some of my other stuff. I don't have videos much on this topic. It's mostly on politics and stuff, other types of politics. But I did do a video about feminist myths about wage gap and all that crap.
Okay. So you've attempted to point out some feminist bullshit.
Yeah, I did point out some feminist bullshit. I'm looking for my headphones right now. Hold on. There we go. Alright, that might be better. There's no echo now.
Just give me
This is my breakfast.
So what's up with you and saying things like calling me a pussy and all these little cute insults?
Yeah, I called you a mangina.
Is that the word you used?
Yep. Because of what you said. I think you had a problem with the magazine saying Ronda, declaring her the athlete of the year because she's done so well in her sport.
About my position, sir.
Yeah, I did. So?
I think you're trying to read my mind and you're failing miserably.
You called me a moron and so other. You called me a white knight and you called me a feminist, and that's not backed up by shit.
You made an 18-minute long video. Yeah, I did call you a moron. Yeah, I did.
I put your whole video in my video. Except for the very end about the guy with the shirt.
What about the shirt?
He landed probe on a comment. I forgot his name.
Well, I hope you don't stand with the feminists on that.
No, I ordered that shirt. I don't stand with feminists on anything. Nothing. Third wave feminism is, I think you are the male equivalent of a feminist.
I love hearing that because it's so funny.
I'm sure you have heard it plenty of times.
Yeah. People like you who I think like to make assumptions about my motives and what I believe. You do jump to conclusions.
So why do you think Ronda has to fight men in order to be the athlete of the year?
I think this is something that we got to go over because I think you
Sorry, I'm asking you.
understand what I'm trying to say with the past 4 videos I've made, which probably account to over an hour of content. I'm not saying that Ronda Rousey is like a fucking radical feminist who studies the patriarchy and is trying to take it down. Like, I don't know if you think that's what I'm saying.
Did I say that?
Well, that's kind of the impression I get. Hold up a second. My picture should come out. There you go.
Your camera's on now.
Yeah, can you still hear me?
I hear you way better now.
Yeah, okay, cool. Better mic.
Let me make sure okay, it's recording again.
Okay.
We'll start it from here, because the audio is real bad if you want to re-say anything or whatever. I mean, I'll leave it all on, but what have you.
I think you should just leave it.
Okay.
Just leave it unedited.
Alright.
Alright, hang on, because now my camera okay.
It
Yeah, I think,
now it's moving.
let me just clarify my points, because I did about 4 videos on Ronda Rousey.
Alright, go ahead. I've only seen the one that I've replied to.
Yeah, the first one I did, it's called well, the first one I actually did, the first one was called Female Athletes. And female athletes and Ronda Rousey and female athletes, why I'm just not impressed. Okay. And in that video, there's a few interesting things that Ronda says. There's a quote, and I told this to you via your YouTube channel, one of the comments. Ronda says something that to me is basically delusional. And not only is it delusional as hell, but to me, this is why I believe Ronda Rousey has quote-unquote feminist delusions. This is her quote. She says, "For the first time ever, there's no distinction between men and women in a sport." She's referring to MMA, the UFC. She goes, "There's the WNBA, which is Women's National Basketball Association." Then she says, "There's women's tennis. There's all these W's everywhere." And just a few months ago, women were introduced into the octagon. Of course, the octagon is a trademark of the UFC. She's talking about the UFC. Women were introduced into the octagon for the first time, just as bantamweights. There was no need to put the women in front, because they don't say men's bantamweight division. Why do they have to say women's? It's the first sport in the world to completely eradicate the separation.
Yep.
To me, that's a delusional statement.
Can I tell you what that statement means?
Yes.
When you watch the WNBA or something, it's only WNBA. And then on another day, on another channel, you can watch the NBA. When you watch martial arts, if you get a pay for the UFC, you get some men and women's matches all on the same card, rather than all just women like they used to have, and all just men when they had it in Strikeforce. When they came to UFC, they mixed it all together. And in fact, the women's fights, Ronda's fights, are usually main event fights, and the reason people are paying for the card. It's not that the men and women fight each other, it's that there's female matches and male matches all on the same card, because the same audience is coming to see both types of fights. That's what she means by there not being a WMMA.
Ronda didn't specify that in the quote.
Well, it's not in the quote you put. Because people following MMA already know that. People following MMA already know that the very first match they had in the UFC between women was Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey, and it was on a card full of guys.
Assuming
that's not delusional.
That's what her quote meant, dude.
Well, okay, but I know a lot about mixed martial arts, and I've followed this whole thing. I'm telling you, that's what it is. They were very, very proud because Dana White, the owner of the UFC, said women will never be in the UFC. There are not enough of them. They're not a big of a draw. No one really likes those fights. You know, blah, blah, blah. He was shitting on it. Then they had the fight, and they made a lot of fucking money off of it, and it was a very good fight. And it's just as entertaining, most people think, as the male fights. And so they put them all together. They don't have a separate thing, and they used to. Strikeforce used to have a girls division, and it would be like Evicta was another thing. It would just be all girl fights, and there were no male fights.
All right, but
it did well enough to come in.
Gender segregation still exists.
Yeah, I mean, they segregate everything.
There's no doubt about that. And I was going based off Ronda's quote, which I don't think you can confirm. I mean, you could be right, but I don't think you can confirm that that's what she meant.
It is.
You know,
It's the
she goes
first one that
around.
doesn't have a
She
W on
she's
it.
like she thinks she's when people ask her, "Can you fight men?" Because she has been asked that. She has been asked, "Can you fight men?" I
Yeah.
think in one of your comments under one of the videos, you said she's never been asked that. That's
No, I didn't
not
say she
true.
hadn't been asked that. I said she never said she'd go it, she'd do it, and she never said she'd beat men, even though she
She
has.
said, "I can beat anyone," and she walks around with a hypothetical view in her mind that she can beat anyone.
She can beat anyone. She's got a possibility to beat anyone, but that's her attitude, the same
Okay,
as
but
Tyson.
you yourself have said that, first of all, you quoted the mom pointing out the biological advantage of men, saying it's
Ronda
unfair.
was right behind her, shaking her head yes. I mean, she's not delusional. She trains with guys. I've been in LA. I've been to her gym. She
Look, I'm
gets
not
beat by
saying she's
guys.
delusional, like she needs to be hospitalized. I'm saying she has a couple feminist delusions in her mind.
She does not
You know,
believe.
I
Yeah,
don't
I know.
hate
I'm glad you
contact
understand what's in
trust
her
because it's
mind. She
very
doesn't
easy for
believe.
me to come off as some kind of misogynist, but I don't hate women and
I
I
don't.
don't hate
Okay, great. You
Rhonda.
don't hate women, but I think it to me, for some guy to sit there and make now 4 or 5 videos to say, in general, men are stronger than women. No shit. No
Oh
shit.
yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and Rhonda doesn't believe otherwise. She knows men are generally stronger than women. She's not generally a woman either. She's a very rare exception. She has beaten UFC fighters all the way up into the 170 class. That does
I
not
don't doubt
mean
it.
women, because she's rare. She would not beat the champion. She would not beat the best guy. She can beat some guys. But when people asked her, so would you, because you're kicking everyone's ass so easily, would you fight a guy in the UFC? And she said no. You think men and women should fight each other? She said no. And the fifth reason she gave was about the domestic abuse stuff. And that was a jab at Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather has been talking shit about her because he thought he should have been athlete of the year. They didn't give it to him. They almost did give it to him, but because he slapped around a woman and ended up in jail, he's not getting any rewards for anything. And he has not been as dominant as she has in his sport as she has in her sport.
All right. Well,
Even though he's undefeated, he's been winning by decision and split decision, and she's been finishing everybody in under a minute. So she's
okay.
more
Well,
deserving.
one thing I got to make clear is that in my videos, it's not just me going after Rhonda. You know, it's not like I'm blaming her for being labeled the world's most dominant athlete. Even though she
Sure.
has accepted it and she has,
Well,
you
she
know,
should
taken
accept
it
it.
on
I
the
mean, she
board.
is.
Huh?
You don't think she's? I mean, that's the other thing I had
No,
is like
of
she's
course
not the
not.
most dominant
Of course
athlete
she's
because
not
she's
the most
not fighting
dominant
Alistair
athlete.
Overeem.
How can she be the most dominant athlete if you just admitted men could kick her ass on average?
Because it's not the most dominant fighter; it's the most dominant athlete. That means in her category, she's the most dominant. They've
She's
given
won 2015 ESPY Award for Fighter of the Year. I mean, whether it's Fighter of the Year award or she's won
yeah, the
multiple
fighter of the
accolades.
year. It's understood that it's for her class. I mean, other fighters have gotten that reward who are not heavyweights, who are male. George St. Pierre got that. He was
Well, then
undefeated.
you
He
get
was a
into a
welterweight.
discussion. Then you get into a discussion about weight classes.
That's why
Um,
they say pound for pound. That's the whole purpose of that.
but see, that's to me, those weight divisions are fucking. They have their uses in the sport, but we all accept and admit that the heavyweighters on average are more dominant. They're going to kick more ass than a lighter weight. That's why you don't pair them up.
Yeah, they
So
used to
to
pair
me,
them
if you're
up.
going to make an empirical judgment of an individual athlete's skill, you can compartmentalize them into a little, you know, the bantamweight or the featherweight. You can do that if you want to, but if you were to pair up somebody from featherweight against a
Everyone
heavyweight,
does,
odds
because
are the heavyweight is going to kick their fucking ass. So
probably
it's not.
except when they did mix it all together, because early UFC was no weight classes and it was the little dudes who won.
Well,
Royce
actually, I think
Gracie's the
that's the
one
way
that
it
beat
should be.
Dan Severn and everyone else. It was the
I
guys
actually,
around 185 who are the most dominant.
I actually think that's the way it should be. You should get rid of all these stupid categories, including
Well,
gender segregation.